Hi Year 6 and welcome to Monday's reading lesson. This week we are going to focus on Holes, our class book for reading, and specifically we are going to focus on chapter 7. If you haven't been keeping up with the chapters, you really need to go and listen to them. Chapters 1 to 3, there's a document with chapters 1 to 3 that you can read, and then the rest of the chapters are recorded if you click on the picture of the Holes book on our website. You're going to need to keep up with listening to these because as we go on, our reading lessons and our English lessons won't make a lot of sense unless you are following the story. So it's really important that you make a little bit of time to listen. Each chapter would be 10 minutes perhaps, okay? So you need to make some time to do that. And if you haven't already, then I would suggest pausing here and going back and doing that first. Then this lesson is going to be around chapter 7. Okay, so Holes is a flashback story. Okay, so all through the book, we are going to see flashbacks. We've got two stories running side by side. One is happening in the past, and one is the story that we are following in the present. So have a think, pause me to answer, what is the present day story about, and what is the flashback story about? Okay, so hopefully you said that the present day story centres around Stanley Yelnats. Now remember, Yelnats is Stanley backwards and it's the name of his father and his father before him. He is our character. We know he is overweight, unpopular at school, lives with his mum and dad, and he has been sent to Camp Green Lake as a punishment after he was arrested for stealing these sneakers, these trainers that belonged to Clyde Livingston, this famous baseball player. So instead of prison, he's been sent to Camp Green Lake. And at Camp Green Lake, the boys are digging holes 5 feet wide by 5 foot deep in the middle of this dried out lake, and that is their punishment. Okay, that's what's going to be character building, and that's where they all are. So that's what the main book is about. But running through that, we dip back into this past story. And the past story centres around Stanley's great-great-grandfather and the story of this curse that was put on the family. So we know from the beginning of the book that Stanley says he's always been very unlucky, his family are very unlucky, and it's all to do with this curse put on his great-great-grandfather. Now, Stanley thinks that it's a bit of a joke, but he says that when anything goes wrong in their family, they blame the dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-grandfather, and it's a kind of a running joke. So the story in the flashback tells us what happened with the great-great-grandfather, how this curse began, and kind of links back into Stanley's story. So we've got the two things running alongside each other. Now, what I want you to do today is to go back into chapter 7 and then fill in the information here. So you don't have to fill in an actual table, you can just write it down. So I want you to go and find the setting for the flashback. So where is it happening? Where is it set? The setting for the present day. Where is it happening? Where's the story set? And then the characters for each. So make a big list of the characters for your flashback and the characters for the present day. If you go off now and do that independently, and it might require listening to chapter 7, if you want to come back and see the answers, I will discuss those in a moment. Okay, so pause me and go off and do it. It might require listening to the chapter and previous chapters if you need to. Get all of this filled in and pop back for the answers. Okay, so you should have got that the flashback story is set in Latvia, so they're in a different country. The present day story is set in Camp Green Lake, and Camp Green Lake is in Texas, which is in America. Okay, then for your characters in the flashback story, you've got Elya Yelnats, who is Stanley's great-great-grandfather. You've got Myra Menke, who's the girl that he's fallen in love with. You've got Igor Barkov, who is the other man that wants to marry Myra. I guess you could also have put Myra's father in, actually. He's in the story, and I didn't list him there. You've got Madame Zeroni, who's this kind of old lady that Eleanor's friends with and goes to for help with this whole situation. And then later in the chapter, you've got Sarah Miller, who Elia ends up marrying in America. In the present day story, Stanley's story, you've obviously got Stanley, who we've talked about. You've got Mr. Pendanski and Mr. Sir and the warden, who are the staff at this camp. We haven't actually met the warden yet, but they're mentioned, and they're the staff there. And then you've got the other campmates, if you like, the other prisoners, I guess, who are the other boys digging the holes with Stanley, and they've all got these nicknames. So you've got Zero, X-Ray, Armpit, Magnet, Zigzag. So hopefully you've got all of those there. Thank you for following the lesson. We are finished for today. Tomorrow we will also focus on chapter 7. So if you're feeling like you're not quite understanding it, go back and listen to it as many times as you need to. Chapter 8 is also on the website for you to listen to make sure you are all caught up. And I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.